Depuis autant des vacances rivées, c'est mon grand c'est la joie de vivre. Qu'un bon soleil pour nous prendre un bain de mer, en vacances que nous comptons. C'est ça qui fait les vacances rivées, n'oubliez soucis, chagrin, tout problème la vie. On passe sur plage, pique-nique dans tout petit bal, ambiance tout partout, musique à violer.
Thank you for joining us again tonight. Tonight it's Friday, December the 5th, and thank you for those of you who are watching us live on People TV, on Comcast Cable here in Atlanta. But I also have to say a thank you to those of you who are watching us on the internet. It's those, as many of you may not know, because this is still new, that we are now broadcasting live on the internet. The channel People TV is live. If you go to peopletv.org, for those of you that didn't know, you can just click on live streaming and you will see us live on the internet. So we went from Atlanta-wide to worldwide. But just to go ahead and jump in the show, because we have a big show planned for you tonight. Again, you're watching Caribbean Report. We're on every Friday night from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you don't see us on a particular Friday night, it's because the station takes breaks in the middle of the season and at the end of the season. We have roughly 3 shows left in this season, and then will be roughly a month break. But I'm Dedrick Henry. I'm just one of the hosts here tonight, and I'll let my other host introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Karen.
And we again like to thank you for joining us tonight. But we have a big show for you. We're going to touch on a little bit of news right at the beginning of the show, but we have 2 big guests tonight. Actually,
Yes.
one of them, for those of you who've seen the last show, last week we weren't on because the station was closed for Thanksgiving, but the week before we had Dr. Edward Layne, who was also a familiar guest to the show. He was on even before. But with him would be another doctor, which would be Dr. I believe Cynthia Abbott. And she is...
She is the head dermatologist. She's board certified dermatologist and is director of Atlanta Skin Clinics.
So you definitely want to stay tuned to that. So what we want to do right quick is touch on the news. But before I do that, our website is www.myspace.com/Atlanta Caribbean Report. And it'll probably be up on the screen later. And the phone number to call in to the show is 404-873-1349. You see the website up on the screen, and the phone number, we'll repeat again later, and you will see it later. But the first thing I want to get into is on the news, and the first article, or the first subject I want to touch on, or actually, I believe you want to touch on that.
I want to touch on it.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on is tourism. You know, we love to travel, but
of course,
because of the economy and what's going on, people are declining. They're holding on to their dollars. And because of what's going on in the United States, and I would say worldwide, the tourist industry in the Caribbean are being hit very hard.
Really?
But there's a kind of twist to that story, but let me begin. It says here that despite the recession in the United States and the global economic meltdown, Jamaica tourism officials have launched a $3 million advertising campaign to lure tourists to the island. And I got this information from Caribbean World News Business.
Okay.
So just go to that website, and actually, if you go to our website, webpage, then you could be linked to all the different news resources that we get. Now, it says here that they are losing monies, and they're also giving pink slips to workers in different resorts. Yeah, it says the promotion comes as several regional privately owned resorts have given many workers pink slips. Right, and as the Caribbean Tourism Organization latest reported this in November. So there is a decline in the region of Jamaica. But let me tell you, there is an island that you wouldn't think of, but Cuba, they said that tourism has gone up.
Really?
Yes. Matter of fact, it says here, for the 5th consecutive year, Cuba has already surpassed the 2 million foreign visitor mark for this year.
Wow.
The Island Ministry of Tourism said this past week. And it says here a cumulative growth of 10.7% compared to last year.
Wow.
So Cuba is coming up there.
And you
so
know
look out.
what's interesting, no, you mentioned Jamaica, and one thing that immediately comes to mind is a
Right.
lot of Jamaican travel, or Jamaica travel is based a lot on U.S. visits.
True.
Whereas Cuba, let me back up, based on U.S. visits, where of course the U.S. is in a recession.
Right.
Cuba,
It's based
given
on-
the travel restrictions, you can't get a direct flight from the U.S. to Cuba.
It's European countries.
Oh, right, it's from elsewhere. And I'm just guessing that's probably a big reason why they're not directly affected.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of growth going on in Cuba's infrastructure.
Right.
You know that China has been doing a lot of talks with Cuba.
Wow, okay.
So there's a lot of expansion going on. So
Okay.
probably from the Asian countries as well
Right.
as the European nations,
Right.
you're getting a lot of new tourists coming.
Right.
And on a little bit about Trinidad, we did have a news article saying that Trinidad had surplus monies to get them through this recession crisis.
Okay.
But the latest update. Yes, they do have surplus, but they're tightening up the belt. This is what the article says. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister this week announced a cut in spending across the country. Given the huge drop in the world energy prices, PM Patrick Manning says his administration will postpone the construction of new schools and 2 major hospitals as the Twin Island Caribbean nation is facing $880 million shortage in its $8.3 billion budget.
Wow. And I'm assuming that's U.S. dollars?
Yes, that
Okay.
is in U.S. dollars.
Okay.
Yes, that's in U.S. dollars.
Wow.
So that is going on in the Twin Island of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. So, it just goes to show that the financial crisis in the U.S. really affects a lot of places, and especially you're talking about these islands, they have a lot of dependency on tourism from the United States.
Well, in Trinidad and Tobago, it's more of the fossil fuel, which is oil.
Right,
And the
okay.
oil per barrel has gone down. I think it's dwindled down to $46, is it?
Okay.
Per barrel.
Okay.
So it has dropped where it was over $100
Wow.
per barrel. So therefore, if it's dropped close to half,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
then
that's-
that is money, just like how you forecast and say, hey, my budget is because you have some projected numbers based on the past. Now you're projecting on something that's really
Right.
not there.
And you're talking about on half of that. That's a
be-
huge drop. That's,
yeah, look around town. The prices has dropped half. Right?
yeah, for now.
Yeah, for now. Oh,
hope-
yeah.
That's a whole nother subject, though. But I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to say, for people who are driving in Lithonia, okay, price of gas, $1.43 at the Quick Trip there.
Wow, that's almost
So
worth
that
me
could be
driving
helpful.
out there.
Yes, $1.40. Yes,
$1.43?
$1.43 at the Quick
Wow.
Trip.
Wow.
Because I was driving down here, it was $1.80 something, $1.83.
Yeah,
84. Yeah.
Some
So-
places still almost $1.90, $1.90. So
It depends where you go.
yeah.
So I'm just giving that. So rush on over before it goes back up.
But again, on
Yes.
these news articles, we won't be able to touch all of them. If you go to our website, on the top right-hand corner, a link says main news sources for the show. And you'll be able to get all these places like Karen mentioned. There was Carrot World News. There's also Caribbean 360. There's South Florida, CaribbeanNews.com, and some others. I don't want to
And
start.
BBC.
Right, BBC News. So please go to that site because we can't even touch 2% of all the news that's going on. I mean, given the
Yes.
limited time we have now and given that news stories happen 24/7, please during the week go to our website to get more information. Now, one other thing I want to point it out for those figures that you had is that it mentioned it went into specific on some of the resorts on some of the islands.
Right. Well, what is going on? It says the construction of a multi-million-dollar resort in Dominican Republic, the Turcos, Turks and Caicos, and other nations largely depend on tourism for foreign exchange, has come to a halt right now.
Okay.
Because of the meltdown in Wall Street. So there are certain, the Wyndham Nassau Resort in the Bahamas, there was 40 people they dismissed.
Really?
Yeah, so there were some 800
Wow.
at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas.
800? Wow.
Yes, yes, and 40 at the Sheraton Resort, also in the Bahamas. The Caribbean Hilton in San Juan, Puerto
Okay.
Rico, also cut its staff by 50 people. So there is a large percentage of people in the Caribbean that are getting pink slips, especially in the resort industry.
Wow.
Now,
Tell-
if
go
you go
ahead.
into resort industry, that means probably car rentals. You think of restaurants. You think of
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yes,
Anything
a lot
that
of
has
things
to
that's
do with
linked.
hospitality is,
Yes.
is going to be affected by all that. And that's the thing, so many industries are linked to each other.
Oh, most definitely. So the impact of financial has been, it says here in Jamaica, the dollar has taken a hit plunge from $72.85 to a $1 US.
Wow.
So that's kind of steep.
Wow.
Yeah. And now it's $78 to $1. So this happened in a 6-week span. It was $72.85. I didn't realize it was that high. And now it's gone to $78.
Wow.
Yes. So we are getting, the dollars are being reevaluated in the different islands because of the meltdown
Right.
in the U.S.
Wow.
And then
That's-
most likely the dollar in U.S. are getting reevaluated in euro dollars. Oh,
yeah, I'm
that
sure.
scared me.
I'm sure everywhere it's
Yes.
a major effect. Now, I know we only have a couple minutes left in the news segment, so I just want to mention another headline. There was a slave ship, remnants, was found off the coast of Turks and Caicos last month in November.
Really? Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
if you
That's
can,
interesting.
well, like I said, we only have a minute left in this segment, but if you go to Carib, actually, we need to link this on our website, but go to CaribLifeCentral.com, and this will be in the news section. So again, that's a slave ship that has been identified off the coast of Turks and Caicos. Again, the CaribLifeCentral.com. Stay tuned with us. We're going to take a quick break. Please stay tuned, and we will be back. As we mentioned, we have Dr. Edward Layne, and we have Dr. Cynthia Abbott that will be on. That's going to give you some very important tips for looking beautiful for the holidays. You know, it's that time of year where you want to leave your house, but you don't want to leave your house not looking beautiful. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Car à moi, on m'avait caché déception et ses liens particuliers avec trahison. Cette trahison qui m'a fait connaître méfiance, qui m'a clairement mis en garde contre confiance. Confiance, c'est bien foutu de moi. Avec sourire et joie, eux trois, on fait de moi chrétien sous mélancolie. Mon enfance rime avec absence de flics, de père.
MCAI Atlanta is a community of professionals devoted to the art and business of media communications. Our members work in all areas of traditional and new media. And although the tools and technology may vary, we all strive for the same goals: to teach, to market, to motivate, to educate, and often to inspire. And MCAI supports its members in so many different ways.
This organization is always forward-looking.
MCAI allows my employees to grow.
Coming to the meetings gets my creative juices going.
Where you can network with other people.
I meet people from all over the country, all over the world.
There's an outreach to students.
I think people should join the organization because of the relationships.
Valuable relationships that pay off.
MCAI
is a connection place.
It's a whole network of people that have your back.
Whatever our industry segment, we seek to clarify through visual media the spirit, that emotional link which connects one human being with another. MCAI enables us to succeed in that endeavor.
My area of expertise is really in corporate video production and broadcast. But I've been able through MCAI to meet people on the internet side. I'm meeting people that are in technology development, all kinds of different aspects of the business and outside.
You get to meet people that are doing things with some new technologies you may not be familiar with.
From a business development standpoint, the organization helps me through creating relationships with people in MCAI.
And it means a lot of company exposure and personal exposure as well.
I found that getting involved is the best way to get things back from an organization.
The MCAI really has been an important part of professional growth.
I started with MCAI as a student, and through the years it's been great for my professional development, and it's helped me a lot in my career.
Our industry is always changing. When I come to an MCAI meeting, I find out who's doing what, how things are being done, and how our industry is changing.
Media professionals need to know that the MCAI is the organization in Atlanta. There's really no other organization like the MCAI.
You're able to see how video is now delivered differently than it was just a few years ago.
We've connected the dots from people who are looking for cameramen, looking for talent, so I don't have to recreate the wheel every time.
MCAI is a great organization, and you should join.
When I'm traveling out of town, it's always nice to know that there are other MCAI members that I can rely on.
It's a fun place to be.
As you've heard from some of our other members, there are many benefits to an MCAI membership.
Marketing, media convergence,
Recognition,
Community service.
Education.
But they don't mean a thing if you don't join us.
So there it is, MCAI Atlanta, a place to grow and network in our constantly evolving careers. Can you afford not to join us?
Ne comprendront que ceux qui doivent comprendre. Écoute cette mélodie qui chante la souffrance
des incompris,
des mal-aimés,
meurtris,
qui malgré tout continuent à battre,
continuent à se battre
jusqu'au dernier souffle de vie. C'est ainsi
du berceau au tombeau, la conscience alourdie,
la solitude comme fardeau.
Hi, this is Karen from Caribbean Report. It's on you. It's on you.
All right. Well, thanks, Karen. It's nice to be back with you again. And last week we talked to you, as you remember, we talked about making you all beautiful from the inside. And of course, you wanted to know, well, what about the outside? Christmas season is coming up, and the ladies want to be beautiful. Can we be beautiful from the outside as well as the inside? And I said, let me bring the expert in. And of course, our expert is none other than the beautiful Dr. Cynthia Abbott from Atlanta Skin. Who else to tell us how to make us beautiful from the inside? She, by the way, is also the senior moderator of the network on myphvoice.com that deals with this whole area of cosmetics and dermatology, laser lipo. She's also an expert in laser lipo, and we can explore that a little bit later. But I know you had some real questions that you wanted to ask, and I'm going to let you ask them directly to the lady herself.
Yes, my name is Karen from Caribbean Report, and welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, it is absolutely a pleasure. I heard a lot about you, and what I would like to find out, for us ladies, what short-term treatments can be done, for us to get ready for the holidays?
Mm-hmm. Well, our timing is getting very short now. Okay. We've just got 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
So when you think about doing treatments and things for a party coming up, you always have to think about the type of recovery period downtime that you're going to need. So when you're talking about maybe you'll need 3 days, 5 days, something like that, that's about as much as you could be able to do and still be looking good for the holidays. So some of the things are probably injectables, such as Restylane, collagen, the old standby, Juvederm, Radiesse. Those are probably the ones. There's some others that are out there too, but those injectables will fill up those little lines right here that you don't like. Give you a little fuller lip if you ever wanted that. Take away some of these little creases and things, and even this wonderful thing is right around here. This little, it'll make you look like you've had an additional 2 days of sleep that you normally wouldn't have had during that season.
We need that.
Everyone needs. If you get a little bit in the the area, the little tear trough area.
Okay.
Because then you don't have those little creases that make you look
Right.
tired. That's one of my favorite places to put something like Juvederm that's very soft.
Right.
Okay, so and Juvederm, that is something that's synthetic, or is it natural? Is it something?
It's a synthetic type of thing that has been made to mimic your own body's hyaluronic acid, which is made, anyway. So it's a synthetic form of something that's found in your body anyway.
Oh, fantastic.
So it does get absorbed gradually, and it lasts about 9 months or so. And like I said, my favorite place to put it is here and in the lips.
Okay.
Radiesse is wonderful, like around this area, just personally that I like. And then here, Juvederm or Radiesse is great. And then Botox is wonderful, and it takes about usually 3 to 5 days to really kick in well. And that, it relaxes these muscles that you have up here and right here. Yeah, these little lines.
I have these frown
right
lines.
here.
So I can use it and it would just disappear?
They would gradually relax.
Okay.
They would gradually relax. So yours are actually, they're quite, they're not really deep.
Really?
So,
Great.
That's good. So there's a lot of
good.
hope. There's a lot of hope.
There's hope.
So if you relaxed and you didn't do this, you have a very, you have a lot of expression in your face.
Yes, I do.
So, and that's good. But if you, I guess, softened the expression so that you weren't quite so expressive during the time that the Botox is in effect, then the skin would have time to relax over it, which would give you a little whiter-eyed appearance and kind of wipe out these little lines up here.
Okay.
Now, people who are who have been frowning for longer and have deeper lines, it might take 2 treatments for the Botox for the skin to relax over that area enough. But I think you would have a significant improvement just in one treatment.
That's fantastic. So you're saying 3 days of downtime.
Oh, there's no downtime with Botox.
No downtime.
No downtime with Botox. It takes about 3 to 5 days to start to work.
Right. For you to see the effect.
Exactly.
You have our attention. Let me ask you, how safe really are these treatments?
These treatments?
How safe are they?
Well, Botox has been out for years, since the early 80s, and it maybe even a little prior to that, but it has been used cosmetically for that reason, and or for that period of time. There have been some press about some dangers of Botox that was manufactured lab quality, not like research quality, not Botox brand or FDA approved brand, in which case they're not sure the dilution that works the best. If you stick with the Botox brand that's FDA approved for cosmetic use, you would have to use vials and vials and vials before you have a problem, have any type of systemic effect. For a usual treatment with Botox, you'd use a third, maybe a half a vial max, and it would take 5-10 vials before you would have systemic effects of that kind of thing.
Very safe. Very safe.
So it's very safe because we use minute quantities.
And how long does it last?
Unfortunately, only 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4
months.
We'll take that.
Okay, I'll take that. But say after a while and you learn to relax, and you try to look at yourself in the mirror and says, okay, no more frowning, no more expression.
Right.
Does the lines come back after it wears off, after the skin learns to relax and no lines?
Well, a good example is if you kind of keep it up, meaning you stay on a little schedule and you do it like every 3 to 4 months. And then after about a year's time, your muscles start to lose some of that memory, and your skin has relaxed a little bit more. So even though the effects still wear off, your the actual effects on the muscle, your skin can continue that kind of relaxation look without the wrinkles starting to go down for maybe as long as 5 to 6 months. So I have patients who kind of try to push it. And they can make it about 6 months between injections.
Well,
that's fantastic.
That is exciting
because you have lovely skin.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, tell us where we find you. Where can we find you in Atlanta?
Well, I'm located near the new Lindbergh Plaza. It's called Skin.
Atlanta Skin.
Atlanta Skin.
Fantastic.
All right. Is there a number that we can call you?
Sure. You can get in touch with us by calling 404-816-3933.
Okay. Can you repeat that for us?
Sure. 404-816-3933. 3933.
And you have a website as well. And so we can do live chats, is it on the website?
Right.
How does it?
Well,
That
yes,
is through-
we're yes. My PH Voice is an exciting concept that Dr. Abbott has been working with me, among some other doctors, on. And what it is really, you know how expensive it is now to get information, to go to a doctor and get information. Well, we want you to be able to go to Dr. Abbott, but for every little thing that you want, we've set up a site so that you can ask her questions and she can respond to you. And you can do that in a whole number of fields. But she's the senior moderator on this site for cosmetics and for dermatology and laser lipo. Don't forget that. You can tell us a little bit about laser lipo, please, because I know you asked me a little bit about that, and several of the ladies have. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, with the laser lipo, that's a wonderful new technological device that has kind of recharged liposuction because you no longer have to go what we would call traditional liposuction, meaning under general anesthetic and having the risks that are associated with general anesthetic. It's all done under local anesthetic, and it uses small cannulas to suck out the fat after first melting the fat with a tiny little laser. Make tiny little incisions, maybe 2 to 3 millimeters in size, and then go through that, melt the fat, and then suck it out with the little cannulas.
So in other words, if I want to wear that little black dress that I see a little bulge, I need this to my tummy to go down, I just come to see you and it disappears.
This was coming.
It disappears. It disappears.
Okay.
Now the thing is, before the holidays, I mean, this has to do with this recovery period.
Correct.
Now, if you're going to be fully clothed and you wear your little binder in place, you will look better in clothes by Christmas time.
Okay.
Definitely. But you can't expect to go down to the Bahamas or the Caribbean in a month and look as good as you would in 6 months. Which always makes you think, okay, well, what can I do now that would prepare me for later, too?
Oh,
So you look better in clothes, but give it 6 months and you look better in a bathing suit.
Oh, give it 6 months. Okay, that will come in time. Do it now.
So in those 6 months, what's the body's just remolding itself?
Yes, the body's reabsorbing the tumescent fluid that we put in because I neglected to say, I think that since we don't use any general anesthetic, we use local anesthetic, which is basically saline with a little bit of lidocaine diluted in there.
Okay.
So kind of blow the area up like a balloon to give you space to work, to give me space to work. Then I can get that fat out. And then it takes about a week to 2 weeks to let all that fluid reabsorb in the body that we put in. So that's why you would look better by Christmas time, but you would look even better in 6 months because then the skin will have time to tighten because the laser will tighten the skin underneath the surface.
Now,
and that takes time to completely have that effect through the body.
Okay. With that, you talk about molding, molding the body. Do you have to wear any special outfits to help tone and keep everything in shape?
Until everything adheres back together again for about a week to 2 weeks, you would need to wear a garment to hold everything together to make sure that that space that we created with the tumescent fluid, the saline, gets reattached back down to the muscle. So then you're going to pretty much have skin to muscle rather than skin fat muscle.
Okay.
Because the fat's gone, so you've got to give it time to readhere back in its new position.
Okay, and how long would this last per se?
The fat is gone.
The fat is just gone.
It's gone, 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 because the fat cells are gone.
Sounds good.
Oh, so
it
sounds good to me.
It's a permanent fix.
Okay.
Now the thing is, you don't make new fat cells. Like when you gain 10 pounds, normally you're not going to make more fat cells.
Okay.
You're going to plump up the fat cells that are there.
Oh.
So if these fat cells are gone, it's not going to go back here.
Interesting.
Now that's not to say that it couldn't go someplace else.
Where else is it going to go?
Well, you know, this would be good.
Some people would love that part.
Some people would like
Some
this.
people would love that part.
Well, before we go so deep into that discussion,
Yes.
let me. One other question that I know Karen has been asking, and several of the ladies have been asking about facial hair. I mean, after about age 25, 27, sometimes even in early 30s, ladies start to get facial hair. And these new laser techniques, can you tell us a little bit about how they work?
Oh, they're wonderful, the new laser hair removal, because it used to be just white skin and dark hair. That was the only thing that could be treated with the lasers. Now there's new wonderful lasers, the diode lasers, different lasers that actually do a cooling on the surface of the skin so that it protects your pigment. So that now, anytime that you have dark hair, regardless of the skin color, you're going to be able to get really great.
So black men and women can do that, darker colored pigment skins as well. That's exciting.
Yes, all the way down to even
so
like type 5 skin. We need very dark skin. You can do hair removal very safely.
Fantastic. Now, does the same hold for moles and so on, taking moles off? Because I know you were.
Yes, about moles, because I have like little freckles, little moles, and little growing, those little growing
Those little
moles,
things are called DPNs, which is dermatosis papulosa nigra. Nice long word that just flows off your tongue.
Oh yes, it does for you.
Say it right.
And actually, there's different ways that you can treat it. There is a little laser that will just zap these little things very superficially. You can also even do the little electrocautery device where you come in, do a little topical numbing, and then just each of those little spots are touched with the hot little needle, and you're numb now anyway. So that just takes them right off.
And is there any side effects with that?
You may have some redness, and any time that especially pigmented skin gets red, it will get dark in that area. So you've got to make sure that you leave space between any other type of exfoliant or any other type of treatment so that your skin has time to heal and you don't have little spots. Like your bumps are gone, but then you're left with little dark spots. So you have to make sure we use some special creams to prevent that.
Okay, so does it come back? Would something
you
like
might get new ones.
Oh, new ones. New ones.
Not
okay,
immediately.
But not immediately.
Not immediately,
No,
right.
right.
And if you hadn't have had the ones treated, you would have twice as many.
That is exactly.
Yes, you would have had.
That's true.
And one of the things that I've got to say is, of course, looking at Dr. Abbott, you understand that she does all the other things that we talked about over the last several sessions. That is, she does all of the internal stuff, right, to keep the preventive health internal stuff, and that's important. So I just want to, she does not just do the superficial makeover, she does it from the inside and the outside.
Right.
But of course,
skin
she's an
health
expert.
always takes in consideration the vitamins, the nutrition, the things, the exercise that you do every day to keep yourself looking the best. Because smoker skin, you can tell by looking that smoker skin. I can tell if it's a smoker skin because it's hypoxic. It doesn't get good blood flow because it doesn't have good oxygen supply. It actually has quite good blood flow, but the capillaries have to have even more capillaries. They have to rejuvenate. They have to have over the amount of capillaries to get the appropriate amount of oxygen in the skin, which oftentimes you'll end up with little telangiectasias, little spider veins. If you start looking at smoker skin, they have a lot more of the spider veins because it doesn't get enough oxygen and your skin compensates.
Right, exactly right. And I know we've got to take a break in a while, but I just wanted you to tell us again where we can reach you. And I know we can go on MyPH Voice, www.myphvoice.com, and go to the skin section and they'll find you. But tell us again, your office is here.
It's here in Atlanta, near Lindbergh Plaza. It's at 700 Morosco Drive, actually. It's called Skin.
Phone number is?
And that phone number is 404-816-3933.
And you're so kind to join us with My Preventive
Thank you
Health.
so much for asking
for
me.
all the fantastic information you've given us.
Thank you so much.
Okay? Right,
Yes.
now.
I would like to ask another question. Now, in Atlanta, Georgia, because we have a lot of you know, a lot of people tend to have a lot of allergies here. How does it really affect the skin per se? Yes, how does it affect the skin so that you can have that beautiful, lustrous skin? Because some people tell me that they tend to break out, they get the dermatitis, things like that.
A lot of times it has to do with the skin products that they're using, and you want to make sure that they're hypoallergenic, and
we've got a phone call. We've got someone calling on the line.
Okay.
Yeah, we're being broadcast all over the web. So would you be kind enough? You ask the caller.
Yes. Hi, this is Karen. You're on the air. Caller.
They hung up. Okay.
They hung up.
All right. Well, we'll continue. Maybe the caller will get us back. Okay.
Right, a break.
Is this the break?
Research facility high in the Rocky Mountains. Hundreds of volunteers have gathered to investigate issue positions, backgrounds, and campaign contributors on over 12,000 candidates fighting for your vote. This year, get the facts, not the rhetoric. Help us change the face of democracy. Don't just vote, vote smart. Call our researchers toll-free at 888-VOTE-SMART or visit us on the web at vote-smart.org.
We're fighting diabetes, one step at a time. Join thousands of walkers across the country to raise money for the American Diabetes Association. Join America's Walk for Diabetes. Get involved. Form a team. Bring the kids. Walking is good for your health and great for the cause. Call or log on today. Together, we can find a cure. One step at a time.
Here's the 2-1.
Hi, I'm Barry Bonds for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. In my league, we hit home runs without a designated hitter. But if you want to get home safe, there should always be a designated driver. So when you're with someone who is drinking, take their keys. Call a cab or drive them home yourself. Because friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Et mon place à l'avenir, ça pourrait te servir. Mon flow est efficace, je fais des choix de la ligne de mire. Et dans délire, si tu veux me voir au ballon, tu craches mon nom et on te balance du haut d'un pont. Installé d'une balle, ton charme de chargeur. Fais sur bagne au foyer, tiens-toi prêt, je suis de l'intérieur.
Welcome back. Yes. Welcome again. And I would like to definitely ask you about a couple of things. Now, we were talking about spider veins. Now, a lot of women, once we reach a certain age, we tend to get spider veins either, I guess, because we are walking in high heels and poor circulation sets in at a certain time in our life. How do we control these things? How can we control it or get rid of it?
Well, anything that's relating to, well, unfortunately, what you're given has a lot to do with it. Meaning genetics, unfortunately, plays a big role in veins and spider veins and things like that. And if you have a background, a family history of either mom or dad having problems with it, then chances are you have a higher risk of having venous disease. So unfortunately, you can't really alter that, but you can alter some of the things that you do. And one of the things, you're really not supposed to cross your legs.
Really?
Really? And I do the same thing. But that's one thing that puts extra pressure right here. Stockings and things that have a band that's strong. That
no
cuts
knee
here.
highs.
Exactly, the knee highs. That also puts you at higher risk.
Right. Great. And we've got another phone call coming in.
Okay.
And could you call her? Are you on the line? Caller, are you there? Hello? Hello?
I cannot hear you.
We can hear
barely
you.
hear you.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you fine.
Okay, this is Beverly Teason. Is that letting me know that you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you fine. Well, how are you?
And whom is my name and what did I say so I know? I can't hear you, but maybe you can hear me.
We can hear you fine.
And what is my name?
Beverly Pison.
Oh, you lovely, lovely. You know who you're talking to?
Yes, ma'am. And we've got.
You're my baby. Hey, God bless you. Thank you all. If this is the only way I can get to speak to you, praise God.
Well, thank you,
I
ma'am.
believe in you and whatever it is that you're doing, so you need to tell me about it, because you know I need everything on earth to make me look beautiful on the outside, because the inside is already straight thanks to you.
Thank you, ma'am. We've got Dr. Cynthia Abbott on the line, and she's an expert in making you ladies look really
I'd
beautiful.
like to know about what the ladies got going, but I don't want you to lose me again, or you lose you.
We wouldn't do that, okay?
I mean that.
Right, and
If I had to put it on national TV, God let you and I ever be apart again, because you've been a wonderful person in my life, and if you got something going on, I believe in it because I believe in you.
You know, you keep that up to youth, they'll think that I'm paying you.
Okay, they can call it anything they want to, but we know. Ladies, is it about moving scar tissue?
She wanted to know, how can you remove scar tissue?
Remove scar tissue. Are you referring to a keloid scar, a thickened scar, or just a dark scar?
Know anything about eczema or eczema?
Scars from eczema or eczema, usually that's dark and just dark, and so bleach creams actually work wonderful for that. The thing is, you can't have active eczema at the time that you're trying to treat them. There's hydroquinones, which are 4 to 8% that you can acquire at a doctor's office. And there's 2% over the counter that will help, but moisturizing is going to be your biggest benefit and time, because if you get red and irritated and dry again, you're going to end up getting dark again. And all that work that you just spent, all that work and money and time and effort that you spent trying to get that pigment taken care of is going to come right back again if you're dry.
Listen to me. And the scars are light on dark skin. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, what can we do for that?
Can you repeat the question again?
Okay. The allergy itself has gone. But the scars from a childhood for a 63-year-old woman now are there. White pigments. When this program is over, Dr. Layne can tell you about it, because of other things that he was dealing with me in his prior profession. But in the meantime, what can a person who have scars from a childhood that are white pigments on brown skin, what can I do other than getting some kind of what are they doing now? Tattoo. Don't want no dye in me. I'm keeping it real, ladies. I'm keeping it real.
That's right.
And makeup is a lie. We already know about that. It comes off in the water. They lied. I done tried it out. Now, do you have something bigger and better? I'll be your best customer and advertisement.
Unfortunately, hypopigmentation is really hard, and some of the options are, you've already given me that you don't want tattoos. That's one option. Number 2 is makeup, and you don't want that option. The other option that's been used to treat vitiligo is actually tiny, small skin transplants, meaning you take some good, healthy skin, tiny little plugs that are maybe 2 millimeters in size, and put those in a couple of those white spots, then expose you to light and let that pigment that's from those grafts move out. I don't know how big the white spot is that you're talking about, or the scars are, or if that would actually help in your case, but it does help with vitiligo, which is, I guess, you can also think of it as Michael Jackson disease, where he started out with a white hand and started wearing a glove, and he ended up going all the way. He lost all of his pigment, and he used a doctor in Cincinnati actually helped him just lose all the pigment because he couldn't get it back, and he was tired of looking splotchy. But one of the treatments for small splotchy areas of just whiter pigment is actually transplanting pigment into those spots, then light exposure to spread that pigment out.
Allergy, and the scars was left from that. I don't have the LIGO. It's not spreading. It has stopped where it stopped when it healed. Understand, this is a horse of a different color. Trust me. So you can't compare me to Michael Jackson because his is a whole new, different ball game. But we'll talk about it later. I don't mean to be disrespectful and rude to your program, but that's something else you might want to think about. People who've had eczema or eczema and got scars left, and it's another disease from that. It's not. It's just the skin out where we dug too deep. It's not spread, and it just left these scars on the pigment as is.
About actually, it doesn't have to spread. Vitiligo spreads, but I'm saying that the treatment that you could use to treat white or lighter colored patches that are stable, you could also use a treatment that is used for vitiligo to get that pigment back. You could still use that as another option since you don't like the other two, and those are the only options I've got.
And let me make sure that you understand what Dr. Abbott is saying, ma'am.
Dr. Layne, you know I love and trust you.
Oh yes, let me make sure that you understand. What she's saying is that you can actually transplant tiny bits of skin into those patches, and that's and that skin. There are ways to make that skin spread, that transplant spread, so that it actually, over time, will almost cover the area.
I know what you're saying.
Okay, so that's good, and thank you.
In that case, I can go tattoo. I'm still putting something. I
Right.
want to know, is it a better other? Is it another option?
Right, and I think that's the best option so far, Dr.
Probably
Abbott.
the best option
Thank you so much for your question.
And listen, would you take this number down through the thing and you give me a call?
Yes, ma'am. We will. We'll ask.
I miss you and I love you, and God bless all of you.
And we love you too, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Well, that was a lively caller.
Yes, very lively.
Very lively.
Yeah.
Now, with the Michael Jackson, what happened to him? Now, does it sometimes with some people, it comes and then it just stops, it just goes to one area, or is it something that is continuous and it just spreads?
It doesn't have to continue to spread. It can get to a certain point and be stable. In his case, he probably didn't continue to spread that much more. He probably lost some on his hand, and then he lost some around his mouth and some around his eyes, and those were very, very obvious areas for him. I don't know how much more that he got, but he ended up using Benequin to basically kill the rest of the pigment because he just couldn't get that back, and he was tired of being splotchy. Now,
because my son lost right here by his neck.
And it does not have to continue. And there's different reasons that that can happen too. There's actually, nevuses are kind of moles that can come, and they're actually light rather than dark. Those are stable. Those don't continue to spread.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And if vitiligo is caught early, a lot of times you can succeed to stop it or slow it or just stabilize it, basically. And those stable plaques are the ones that work the best for little pigment transfers.
Right. So just to recap for our audience, there are all these fantastic things that you can do to make these men and ladies look gorgeous for the holidays. Right, including the Botox, of course, selected use of Botox, the fillers, Juvederm and the fillers, and all to get all the creases from around the eyes and the mouth and so on, right? And then now you said you can use the laser to remove facial hair in both men and women, regardless of skin pigment color. That is awesome.
The only bad thing about the laser hair is that white hair won't work for. Red hair, not great.
Right.
Okay.
Blonde hair won't work.
Whoa.
Really? So
Well, that is
just
interesting.
dark.
Just dark hair. I mean, not very. The other hair types, not very well. White, not at all. So you've got to
So you really
get it.
So you really depend on the pigment to absorb the laser light and destroy the hair.
And the newer lasers have a great protection on the superficial part of the skin, which protects the pigment, but goes deeper because, of course, lasers can focus where it needs to focus. So the areas where they focus are deeper down in the skin, so it can hit the hair follicles as opposed to hitting the skin surface itself.
All right. And then another thing you told us is the liposuction. Okay, and
the laser light.
Yeah, that is very good.
That is
so so definitely we can look very cute in our little outfits, and also prepare ourselves for the summer. We get double good.
Yes, because it gets even better with time.
With time.
Yeah.
And do you tell us to exercise? Do you recommend us to
Oh
exercise?
my goodness, I've got to give that back to Mr.
Yes,
Layne.
well, you know, this is
Dr. Layne will tell us all about that.
I mean, Dr. Abbott has been our model. I mean, when I met her, actually, it was through one of our young ladies who was a personal trainer, and she says, you know, I've got this great student, right, who was one of my best students, and it turned out to be Dr. Abbott. So she really practices what she preaches, and she understands how important it is to keep her insides as well as her outside. Yeah, and exercise, of course, is so important, Karen, as you know. It helps to jack up the metabolism and builds muscle, first of all, which prevents fat from accumulating in these areas. It also burns up a lot of calories, so that's good. So I think that, you know, for any regimen, any preventive health regimen, and it also makes your skin look better because you get more oxygen. More blood vessels and more oxygen to the skin.
Well, it gets more oxygen in the blood vessels you already have.
Right.
Okay. Rather than like a smoker would need to make new blood vessels to get the same amount of oxygen. If you have good lung capacity and you're able to get some good oxygenation of your blood, then your skin's going to look a lot healthier.
Right.
Well, that's very good to hear. So let's say if you're a smoker and you stopped smoking, how long would it take for the body to rejuvenate itself?
Well, the day that you stop smoking, things start to get better.
Okay.
So the lesson there is that you stop it immediately. It is really not the nicotine as much that causes the problems in smoking, although the nicotine does cause some skin changes, some vasoconstriction. But it is the carbon monoxide, and people need to remember that every time they do that, it's like they've stuck their mouths behind an exhaust of a car. And you're inhaling a colorless, odorless gas, carbon monoxide, which then ties up the oxygen in your blood, you see, by binding to the red material in the cells, which is what hemoglobin that carries the oxygen. And so the more you do that, the more oxygen is, the more of the hemoglobin is tied up, the less oxygen you have. And Dr. Abbott just said, it's the oxygen that makes you look gorgeous.
Looks good, exactly.
Glow, right? And, so
and
that's
immediately, as you were saying, if I'm doing surgery, liposuction, or some type of resurfacing on a person, immediately they're able to heal faster. Any type of, if that take off a little mole, a little tiny skin cancer, a tiny little incision on their body, it's going to heal faster if they stop smoking or cut back. Like if I have a 3-pack-a-day smoker kind of person that I'm doing a little mole excision on, I tell them, you know, you're not going to heal very fast unless you cut this back because you're not able to heal. It doesn't have the oxygen to heal. So if they cut back even to, you know, a couple of cigarettes a day, it's faster. It immediately, you see the effect within just a few days, really.
Right.
You start to see the effect.
But to answer your question, the carbon monoxide binds to the red cell irreversibly. That red cell lives for about 60 days in the circulation, so it's really dead as far as carrying oxygen is concerned. So after about a couple of months, they really begin to feel better.
So in other words, like you've always preached, that the body is made to heal itself.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you do the right thing to your body, it just will promote healing.
And that's what my preventive health is all about, Karen, right? So we encourage you to do exactly what you need to do to heal. And before we forget again, just let me remind everyone that Dr. Abbott is also the moderator of the My Preventive Health social network, which is sort of like our Facebook for health on the web. And you can, this is now in beta testing. It was put together by some very smart young people. And you can go up and you can talk to doctors and healthcare professionals in a variety of formats. Right. And Dr. Abbott is also the director, of course, of Atlanta Skin, a great dermatology clinic here in the Atlanta area, in the Lindbergh Plaza area.
In the Lindbergh
right.
Plaza.
And phone number again, Dr. Abbott is?
It's 404-816-3933.
Fantastic. Okay.
So it's not too late to call you up to schedule an appointment, right?
Oh, no.
Right.
No.
And to get ready for Christmas.
That's what I'm talking about.
And another very quick thing, which we didn't talk about, is microdermabrasion and peels.
Tell us about it.
Because you've got about 3 weeks left. So if you did microdermabrasion, there's really no downtime associated with that. And that can even out skin tones without the downtime associated with it.
Because as we get older, skin tone, it tends to
be more varied.
Yeah, it's varied.
Because of sun exposure more than anything else. Sun exposure, you get dry in places, you get dark in places because of the xerosis, and you just have this continual cycle. So regular exfoliation, or if you're trying to do it fast, like the microdermabrasion or a skin peel, will get it regular faster.
Yeah, and so in the final minute, Karen, I think what we ought to do is thank you so much and thank Dr. Abbott for helping us out in this segment of the of My Preventive Health. It's a pleasure to have you, always a pleasure to be with you, and we look forward to these sessions. We should remind our audience that we'll be doing a series of sessions in the beginning of the year. I think we've got one more in this year, and then next year we'll start a series of sessions on every conceivable aspect of healthcare in a preventive mode, saying how do you keep yourself well, rather than how do you waiting until you get sick to treat yourself. And I think we're very excited